looky what we got here today. This is a 2013 Can-Am Spyder ST SE5. The SE designating that it is the semi-automatic or electronic shift model and not a manual. So it doesn't have the foot shifter and doesn't have a clutch. So this is a base model ST. Just want to walk around it real quick. You get the base rims, you get the two-tone paint around the lower light housing and the chin spoiler up there. You get the standard fenders. I mean, it's pretty no frills. This is your base sport touring Spyder model. Now with the STs, all of the windshields, they're adjustable but manually, unlike the RTs, which are electronic. I'm going to keep it at lowest setting because I kind of like the wind. So this is our test ride / demo model. Just want to show you a couple of the features. Now every Spyder, you push in the key, you turn to the left, it's going to have a little bit of a front storage. It's where your battery is housed, fuse box. It's also going to have a gasket around it, allowing up to 35 pounds of storage, and it's not going to get wet. So if it's raining, this gasket is going to protect whatever you have up there in that front storage. Coming back around to the ignition, you press in again, you turn to the right, you're going to gain access to under the seat. Now under the seat on this model, you're going to have the gas cap on the left. That's pretty much it. It's also going to show you what the tire pressure is. These are special low pressure Kenda tires, so you got to abide by that information. Let's go ahead and fire this thing up. So like every other Spyder, you turn the key and it's going to take a while for it to load. I don't know if you can see, it's very nice weather, very sunny, but it comes up with a Can-Am screen for about 10 seconds, and then you're going to get into this screen. Now it's going to prompt you to read the safety card, and once you've read the safety card and put on your gear helmet, I'm squidding it out today, you're going to press the mode button. What the mode button is going to do, it's going to clear that warning message and put you at the pretty much the base screen. The odometer, the RPMs, everything is going to be on this little LCD display. It's going to also show you what gear you're in. It's a 5-speed. Your gas gauge is going to show you ambient temperature, all that good stuff. So right now, starting it up, make sure your foot is on the foot brake. It has no handbrake. That's something unique about the Spyders. They're 3-wheel vehicles, 2 in the front, 1 in the rear, to kind of balance the weight, keep it a very it hugs the road well. We'll put it that way. You know, unlike typical 3-wheelers with 2 in the back and 1 in the front, it's going to keep that center of gravity really low, and it's going to hug the road a lot better. You don't have the the feeling that it's going to tip on a curve. It's actually going to be planted pretty well to the road. So you don't have a handbrake, you don't have a clutch on this model. So what you do have is a foot brake down here, and as you can see, there's no shifter down there by my left foot. So starting it up, you have a parking brake, which is right here, the electronic parking brake that comes on the ST models. And then your standard ignition. Make sure the kill switch is disengaged. It says we're in first gear, so go ahead and start it up. It's going to beep and let me know, hey, I'm in gear with the parking brake on. As soon as that happens, it's going to shift down to neutral on its own. So right now we're sitting in neutral with the parking brake on. It'll release the parking brake by hitting that switch. The little indicator on the dash goes away, and I'm ready to go. Shift up in the gear, I press the plus button with my thumb, and off we go. Now this is an electronic throttle. It's not your standard cable actuated throttle, unlike my street triple right there. It's got cables leading to the throttle. This is an electronic throttle. It's going to read input from your hand into the throttle by an ECU, and it's going to designate how much power is going to be put down to the tire. So right turn signal, again, there is no handbrake, it's only going to be a foot brake. Now one thing I do like about the Spyders is that they are self-canceling turn signals. I find myself pressing the reset button on the turn signals quite a bit, but on this one you really don't have to. It'll cancel them automatically for you. I mean, this is a pretty no frills model. This one does not have cruise control. It does not have speakers as well. This is a very standard base model. You don't even have floorboards. You got pegs on this, which I mean, it still keeps that sporty aspect. It's a 5-speed semi-automatic transmission. It's a 998cc V-twin Rotax motor. So it's extremely torquey. And the cool thing about this, watch this. So I'm not even shifting down right now. The vehicle is automatically going to shift down from whatever gear you're in when you come to a complete stop or when you're slow down. So it dropped below 2,000 RPMs. And what that did is I was in 5th gear, didn't even have to press the shifter, but it shifted down automatically. It puts me back in 1st. That way when I take off, I'm not in 5th gear, you know, bogging it down. The cool thing about the semi-automatic transmission is since there's no clutch and no foot shifter, is that, you know, you come to a light and if you let out the clutch too fast, you're going to stall it, or if you leave it in 3rd gear and you take off the light, you're probably going to stall the vehicle. Not with this. Since it automatically downshifts for you, you're not worrying about stalling it out. It can also idle in gear. So pretty much if I say I'm going to stop at this light and make a left up here. So after, you know, I put on my signal, I get into the turn lane, make sure no one's on my butt. So I put my turn signal on, signaling I'm going to turn left. I'm in 5th gear right now. I come to this light, apply pressure to the foot brake. It's going to automatically downshift for me. So right there, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. I can sit at this light all day in gear. I don't have to shift up to neutral or down to neutral. I could sit here all day. And since I'm on an incline going downhill, I'm going to roll a little bit. But since there's no clutch, no foot shifter, I'm not going to stall the vehicle, which is extremely nice. You're not having to balance a vehicle, especially on a hill. Now it does take a little bit of getting used to turning the vehicle, because, you know, I've ridden dirt since I was 4 or 5. I've got a motorcycle right now. You're not leaning it. The front end does have a little bit of pivot, but it's nothing like a motorcycle. You're definitely not leaning to take a turn. There's no counter steering, anything like that. This vehicle has power steering in addition to many different car technologies on it. So what keeps it stable through that turn is power steering, letting me steer through the turn, kind of like a jet ski or an ATV, where you actually have to turn the bars to go the direction you want it to go in. It's also got vehicle stability control, which is going to keep the vehicle from lifting up a wheel. If it does, it applies brakes to the opposite wheel to kind of put it back on the ground. It's got ABS linked to all 3 wheels from that foot brake. That way I'm not going to lock up and skid into a car, or, you know, if it's wet weather, I'm not having to worry about, you know, the bike skidding. And it's also going to have traction control. So again, it's a 1000cc V-twin engine that's got plenty of torque. So if it's wet weather, or if I get on a paint line or an oil slick and I get on the throttle, my rear tire is not just going to spin. My rear tire is not going to spin. It's actually going to like regain traction. You'll feel it slip a little bit if you do get on the throttle too hard in a wet situation or in a slick situation. You're going to feel that rear tire slip, but as soon as it does, the computers are going to register that it did slip, and it's going to limit or retard the ignition, retard the engine in power, so that it's going to prevent additional rear wheel slippage, and it's going to actually help you get out of that situation. So you can see that it gets up to speed extremely quick, that it's got a lot of torque behind it, a lot of power behind it. And it's pretty cool. Again, it's going to downshift for me. That's one of the coolest features, is the automatic downshifting. It's definitely something to get used to. Again, on my motorcycle, I love going through the gears. I mean, that's why you get a motorcycle, is to have fun on it and be your own person. But this thing is just as fun. I mean, I'm not... It's non-hassle. It's no hassle. Let's say I'm sitting in traffic. I'd rather, as lame as this sounds, like for some people, you know, 3 wheels, not having to balance a bike at, you know, sub 5 miles an hour in traffic, and having to worry about a clutch or a shift or anything like that, making sure you're in the proper gear. This thing does it for you. Downshift. And it doesn't mean you can't downshift on your own. So let's say I want to pass this car. Just like that. Downshift, get on the throttle, and then upshift. I mean, this vehicle just makes it extremely easy. If this was my first bike, I mean, that's why a lot of people look into the Spyders. A lot of elderly people, a lot of disabled veterans, disabled people, and new riders, just because it's very easy to ride, the semi-automatic version especially. Again, it's all personal preference. You don't have to like it. I mean, I don't find myself in a position that, you know, I need a motorcycle like this, but if time comes to it and I can't balance a bike properly, you know, I'd hate to sell my bike, but I actually want to ride, and, you know, this is a great way to do it. If you're new, if you're learning, if you're not comfortable on two wheels, or you just don't have, you know, either the skill or the ability to balance a bike and, you know, have fun on it, then this would be a perfect option. Again, this is the 2013 Can-Am Spyder ST. You can find it at Mountain Motorsports in Marietta. Again, my name is Anthony. I work in the internet department. If you have any questions whatsoever, come on in. You can take a seat on some of these Spyders. If you can't make it in, you can always give us a call. Our number is 866-616-6415. I work with Buddy and Trey and all them. They're really good guys. We'll see if we can't help you out with any of these models. Again, my name is Anthony. You guys have a good day.